Hey guys, welcome to the CRC Sports YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys taking the time out to watch the first video on the channel here, and wanted to do this as an introduction to the MTSU Blue Raiders Dynasty Series that we're going to be doing here. This is going to be a slow build Dynasty Series where we have full control of the program. We're going to play every game, offense and defense. We're going to handle all the recruiting, start to finish. So we're looking to build this program up from where it currently is, and hope you guys will stick along for the ride. Here you can see the creation of the dynasty. The one conference change we did go ahead and make is adding UMass to the MAC. This is a change that's going to happen after this season in real life. Wanted to just go ahead and get it done in here, and wanted to talk a little bit about why I ended up choosing MTSU for this series. Our coach here is actually going to be taking over for Rick Stockstill, who had been the Blue Raiders coach since 2006. The Blue Raiders joined FBS football in 1999, and since then they have only won 2 conference championships, both of which came back from when they were in the Sun Belt. So haven't ever won a Conference USA championship. And the last of the conference championships that they did win was in 2006. So obviously been a long time since they've had really top level success. They have had some exciting years where they might go 8, 9, maybe even 10 wins, but just haven't found the right recipe to win conference championships in the Conference USA. And for those of you guys that played NCAA 14 as I did, probably remember the name Rick Stockstill. He was the head coach in that game, but his son was actually the quarterback for the Blue Raiders in that game and was an absolute menace. So that name might ring a bell. And here you can kind of see the creation of our coach. The coach we're going to end up having in this series is Kevin Byard, who's actually a former player for the MTSU Blue Raiders. Of course, a Titans legend, not so much an Eagles legend. But he's going to be our coach in this university. He took an early retirement to come back and coach his alma mater. His pipeline I did set is Tennessee. He's actually from Philadelphia, but wanted to go ahead and set Tennessee up. You know, it's the area the school's in, so it kind of made a lot of sense in that way. And we did end up opting to go recruiter. It seems to kind of be the consensus, especially for rebuilds on the game, that recruiter is going to be the most beneficial, but also I feel like it's the most realistic for a former player becoming a coach. Oftentimes you see those guys, be elite recruiters if they do find some success. So as you can see, there were some good years under Coach Rick Stockstill, some lean years towards the end in 2019, 2020, and of course last year in 2023, going 4-8. As I said, Blue Raiders are a part of Conference USA. So here's a little look around the conference, including the newest FBS member, Kennesaw State, and then kind of a budding powerhouse in the group of 5, and especially the Conference USA, is Liberty. Of course, in the game, they've got 90 overall quarterback, 90 overall running back. It's going to be tough to stop, especially with group of 5 talent. So we're kind of competing against them primarily. They're kind of where we want to be. So it'll kind of be an interesting hunt. And here's a little look at the roster. You'll kind of see another reason why I opted to go with MTSU. We do have a junior starting quarterback, Nicholas Vadiato. So we should have him for the first couple years in the series. Transfers in this game are much more likely than in the previous games. So we'll want to keep an eye on his deal breakers, make sure that we stay ahead of the game on that. And then on the running back side, we do have, along with Nicholas Vadiato, our starting running back, Frank Pissant, is a second-team all-conference. But we do have 4 senior running backs. All of those guys, of course, graduating after the first year. So the one guy that has some youth is Jaquel Middlebrook. He did play in a couple games last year and looked pretty good for the Blue Raiders. So we might try to get him some touches this year. Keep him happy, keep him on the roster, as he'll be playing a major role for us in year 2. You can see the wide receiving core. It's a deep receiving core. Rick Stockstill Actually ran an air raid offense, so a very deep receiving core, but lacks kind of the alpha. The guy that we're going to be needing to fill that role is Amari Kelly, who's also a second-team All-Conference. And he's going to be kind of a manufactured touches guy, but we're also going to need him to step up down the field. So he's excited with the ball in his hand. So we'll want to kind of key in on him. Luckily, we do have kind of a safety blanket for the quarterback in Holden Willis, who's a really solid tight end that we'll be able to kind of have as a backup plan for when those outside receivers aren't getting open. And then one of our key kind of building blocks is going to be Mateo Guevara. Apologies on the pronunciation there if I didn't get it right. But he's actually a sophomore starting left guard for us, and he's got a lot of talent. He's one of the best players on the roster already. So we're going to be leaning on him. We also do have second-team All-Conference center Julius Pierce, another guy that we'll be leaning on. Now, flipping over to the defense, it's I guess you'd call it a deep defensive end core, but there's not really the alpha edge rusher. A lot of young guys, so maybe over a couple years we can develop one or two that can be consistent starters and make an impact for us, but not off the bat. At the defensive tackle position, there is some youth there as well, including Felix Hickson, who actually is a sophomore defensive tackle with an 88 power move. So expect to see him on the field on passing downs. We do have a veteran linebacking core that we can kind of lean on for run stopping and kind of shutting down the short pass game. And then in the secondary, our impact guy is going to be cornerback Tyrell Raby, who's another second-team All-Conference player. He's a junior, so we should have him for the first couple years. In the series, here you see him making a play on a ball against UMass. Another guy, we're going to want to make sure that we stay ahead on the deal breakers. You know, if that becomes an issue, definitely don't want to risk this guy jumping in the portal after year one. He's kind of one of our building blocks, our most talented defensive player for sure to start off with here. We do have some experience on the back end with strong safety Brendan Harris, but he graduates after year one. So we'll likely try to get some experience and playing time for freshman Jordan Beasley. So expect to see him playing an early role for us. Luckily, one thing that the MTSU Blue Raiders do have is they have some depth on the special teams. And considering how many upperclassmen we have, that is a relief because we don't have to be super concerned about going out signing a kicker or a punter in year one. So here's one last look at the roster. There you saw second team All-Conference center. And you can see just the amount of upperclassmen that we're relying on here. In fact, the Blue Raiders actually have 15 seniors on offense and 12 on defense, as well as a kicker and a punter. So we'll graduate 29 players after year one and another 19 after year two. So it's a very old roster. We have a little window where we might be able to compete, jump up, and maybe challenge Liberty for the conference. But after that, we're going to be turning this roster over quickly. Here's a quick look at some of the players that we are putting the red shirt on this year. Not really any impact guys, anybody that I thought could play a role for us. We're going to let them play, like I said, with this kind of window that we have here. But we did go ahead and put on some younger guys that would be good depth pieces for us down the line. So, as you can see, we're all set and ready to go for our home opener against the Georgia State Panthers. That video will come out in the next day or two. So I hope you guys come back, stick around, and subscribe, drop a like, and let me know if there's anything you'd like to see in this series in particular. Any feedback that you have for me, please just let me know. Like I said, I appreciate you taking the time out to watch the first video on the channel here. So anything I can do better, just let me know, and I'll be sure to implement it. But thanks again for listening, and hope to see you guys again. Thank you.